Oh, it's fine. It captured the last 12 minutes.
Okay, all right.
It's recorded. Okay, that's fine. Holy shit! I was gonna say, I just looked over and I was like, it says preview. Why does it say preview? Yeah,
You were saying you remember going through
I
college
I remember going
admission.
through college admissions, and they were never super clear on what to do if you didn't get in somewhere, but you really wanted, like, you know what I mean? Like that.
Mhm,
My first instinct would not be, well, I gotta call that school.
mhm.
And like, because it usually when you get that letter that says no, it seems fine,
Yeah.
right? And I can get why Peter Parker being like, I'm Spider-Man, I'm doing all this stuff in the city, I'm saving the day, I'm getting paint thrown at me because I murdered Mysterio. Like, I can get why like a kid in that situation would go, well, I'm fucked. Like, I gotta make sure no one knows I'm Spider-Man. That's the only
Mhm.
fucking possible way. Like, you know, so while I agree, stupid as fuck, incredibly dumb,
And like
believable.
believable, yeah, but still stupid as hell. And then not
Yes.
not only just that part of the movie, the beginning part of the movie, the the setup for the movie, but also towards the fucking end, where the whole spell is to have people forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Cool. That is the premise for that's a brand new day in the comics.
Yes.
Like verbatim way he makes a deal with Mephisto to have them forget him. Mary Jane forgets that he's Spider-Man, but like subsequently forgets the X amount of years that they've been together
Yes. Because
because she's known that he's Spider-Man for
you
those X amount of
you
years.
can't take that away without like changing that relationship entirely.
But it was also because he told her he was Spider-Man early on,
Yeah.
so those years have to be forgotten.
But for this, it's like it's not even that. It's that
You
the
know,
world
they
forgets that Peter Parker is a person that
exist.
exists.
Yeah, like
So
they
it's
they just
like
forget he's there.
he has no identity.
Yeah, and
Like,
then he has
which
no identity. His only identity now is Spider-Man.
is Spider-Man, and hey, I live in this shitty apartment. And he's
Yeah, and
studying for his
then
GED. That's like that at the end I caught it. It's on the book, like it's
yeah, yep.
GED test study.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, but like the apartment he's in, that looks like
It
Toby's
looks
apartment,
so much like Toby's apartment. I think that's intentional. I don't think they're
like
saying
from Spider-Man 2, right?
it's not the same. I was
But
like,
it
look,
looked
I was looking more intensely at the like end the second time because I was like, was this Toby's apartment?
mhm.
And like, it's not, but it looks very close.
Yeah, because I was getting ready to expect to see the cookie girl come downstairs.
If
Like, hey,
they,
you want me to bake you some cookies?
if that actress was the landlord,
Fucking golden.
that would have been like, okay, things that I wanted to see, like, but didn't. I would have loved a bit more of like J. Jonah Jameson just in the background
Like just like
because
doing his thing.
his his crazy like J. Jonah Jameson is Alex Jones in
He's a
this.
menace.
Yeah, no, but like the way he has the show set up where it's like I I do this out of like a bedroom,
Hmm.
like with a green screen. I run this,
Yep.
and then like he gets more mainstream as like the movie goes on. Like until at the end, he's like J. Jonah Jameson, like he has his own show,
Yeah.
like which I think makes more sense than a paper at this point. I think they have made it like a TV thing
Hmm.
because no one reads the newspaper anymore. Like in the real world,
Yeah.
it wouldn't resonate with kids.
Hey, it's for the newer generation.
Yeah, like it's
Um.
updated, but like he's so good. He's so good. He's like fantastic in this movie. Like, and he's barely in it.
Yeah, and then now let's talk about the villains.
Okay,
So I want to go. I want
who's
to
the
go through
most
this with
improved? Really quick. Just I want to hear your take on it. Cold take. Who's the most improved villain?
Electro.
Yes. Okay, we're on the same page.
Because like I wanted to do let's rank the villains in the movie from like not who had the weakest performance, but like in scale.
Okay, well, let's talk about the two who weren't actually in the movie.
Hmm.
Like, and I this is not noticeable really. It's really subtle actually, and if I hadn't seen Spider-Man 3 before seeing this movie more recently, I wouldn't have noticed this. Sandman is was not on set one day. They
Yeah,
used
no.
footage from Spider-Man 3
Yeah.
to digitally put him in, which I'm like, but like, if you keep him as sand most of the time, it doesn't really matter.
Hmm.
There there's a scene at the end where like they cure him of being Sandman, where it's a reverse shot of him looking at his hand.
Of him, yeah, of him
It's
like
the reverse
turning
of a
into
shot. Yeah,
Sandman.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I noticed it on the second go around where I wasn't really thinking about it on the first. I was like, is that like shot in like reverse time?
Yeah,
Like,
100%. And like
what the
it
fuck?
works.
Yeah.
It works because like people who've seen Spider-Man 3, not a lot of people are going to go back to watch that particular movie.
Yes.
But like it is the reverse shot, and like it works. I can't
Yeah.
complain.
So, but if
Um,
we're talking like in terms of order, again, because they weren't actually there, I
the
think
lizard.
it goes Sandman and then the Lizard, which who had a better performance, if only because he's fully CG
Yeah.
the whole time, and you're expecting him to look like that. Uh, and then it goes absolutely fucking Electro Jamie
Electro,
Foxx.
my man with the freshest haircut
Yeah,
in the fucking world.
who's also not an amazing actor, but in this movie it kind of works better than in Amazing Spider-Man 2
Because like in
because he's
the
kind
Amazing
of
Spider-
comic relief. He's kind of a comic relief villain almost in this movie, a
yeah, not
little
only
bit.
that, like because in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, he was, I don't know, he was like
It was
he
weird
wasn't the stereotypical nerd. He was like the extremist version of that.
with
Where it
the
was like,
gap
dude, like
tooth.
you guys could have done anything else to make Jamie Foxx Electro and keep him blue, but you did this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly though, Christ, I'm glad he's not blue in this movie.
Yeah, and like I love
I'm
that
so
that
glad he's not blue.
explanation was him coming into this universe and absorbing the energy
Yeah,
from this universe is what changed him back.
thank fucking okay. But here's the thing: Jamie Foxx was not going to be in this movie. He said this in interviews. He's like, I'm not going to be in the movie if I'm blue because he didn't. I'm fully on the bandwagon of Jamie Foxx did not know he was going to be blue in Amazing Spider-Man.
And then they got him in the chair.
I fully believe that he had no idea what he was going to look like, and when he found out, I think he was mad.
Yeah, anybody would be.
I mean,
I mean, he got the check for
yeah,
the Amazing Spider, so he was already there. He kind of had to do it.
yeah,
Um,
like, but
but like
yeah,
that the scene where you just see him with the energy, and then you see like the classic Electro,
yes,
fucking
I love that
I don't even know
touch.
what the fucking
It's like his
fucking
electric
mask.
like mask, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
And when
his
you see
classic
that
mask.
over his head, like that right there, like, I'm glad they didn't give him the green and yellow leotard,
Yeah, I think
that
that
they
I
made him that they made him more of like an industrialized Electro.
yeah, I think that the MCU's like thing where for the most part they don't do like 100% comic accurate uniforms is
Yeah,
a good thing
yeah. Like
because
it's
it
great
would
that they
it would
have their
feel
own.
so ungrounded if it
Hmm.
was like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't feel like you were there or it was anything was there.
Yeah,
But yeah, then I mean we have obviously it's Doc Ock. I mean, I think this like in terms of like who gave the best performance is really easy.
yeah,
I-
100%. Because like Doctor, I'm forgetting the actor's
Alfred
name,
Molina.
Alfred Molina. Oh
He's
my
amazing.
god!
He's
And I'm
fucking
glad.
amazing.
Yeah, like in an interview he did with Jamie Foxx and Willem Dafoe,
Yeah.
he said that it was more freeing to do this movie because in Spider-Man 2, the arms were actual props.
I love seeing the behind the scenes for that movie because the arms are puppets. Like they have like a rig.
Yeah, it was two people in like the green Zentai suits moving and operating the arms.
Yeah, but like they have a chair with like these
Hmm.
things and it's fucking insane. The fact that those arms are practical and I didn't know that for like 18 years is insane. I found
Yeah,
that
and like
out this past year.
yeah, then it was like only CG or like fixed
It
whatever
was
when
mostly
it came to
CG.
like those big action events in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And then in No Way Home, it's all CG, so we had the room to actually move around and like just
Yeah.
emote more.
And they definitely could not have done that back in 2004,
Yeah,
right? Like they could not have made the visual effects of like his arms the way they are in this movie 2004. I think that they look just as good if not better,
yeah, and then
which is insane considering that they
and
were
then
really there.
when he grabs a hold of Peter, and then the nanobots
Oh, that was
from
the
his
coolest
suit
thing.
jump onto, and then he just controls Doc Ock. He's like, "No, you're gonna stay put. You're gonna
Yeah,
stay right there."
it seems
Um,
so simple.
yeah, and like it was just really great. Doc Ock and Tom Holland interacting with each other.
Yeah,
Um, because Doc Ock recognizes the suit.
yeah.
I mean, he's like, "It's a different suit, but you're still Spider-Man. You're
You're not
clearly
my
still
Peter.
Spider-Man." And he's like, "You're not Peter Parker." "Yes, I am." "You're not my Peter Parker." "Where am I?" And then the Green Goblin laugh.
Yeah,
Oh my god!
it's
And then the pumpkin bombs.
like again, this movie basically starts out with like a it starts out with like a montage, right? And you go through like the whole thing. They do like the little spell, like it's like, oh, we're not going to college. You do the little spell. I mean, and then he goes, oh, well, you should go talk to the emissions. When that scene on the bridge with Doc Ock, so hype. If we had not seen that, I mean, there was no way they could have kept that the villains are in this movie.
Yeah.
They needed to advertise something, right? The fact that they like kept out of like any kind of advertisements that there were two other Spider-Men in this movie is really impressive. Andrew Garfield like going through all those like interviews because he was two other movies
Hmm.
like in the past year, which both have apparently done really well. I actually really want to watch his like Click Click Boom.
Yeah.
Um, after just see, I just want more Andrew Garfield now.
the
But
um the the whole internet gaslighting themselves into saying that, oh no, those were just unused shots for the supposed Amazing Spider-Man 3 or
so
later.
fucking dumb. People are so stupid. To be clear, that was the most obviously like this is new on set because Andrew Garfield is fucking 6 years older than he was like when he shot Amazing Spider-Man 2. What the fuck do you think?
Yeah, and then
Like
just
he looks the
like
same now.
like the deconstruction of the Green Goblin in
Yeah.
this movie, to like he knows he's not on his Earth. He immediately looks up Oscorp. Oscorp doesn't exist here.
Yeah. He just I think a really great moment and I don't think this movie would be as good if it didn't have this where he destroys the mask.
Hmm.
And so you don't see those scenes of him talking to himself past that like scene in the alley where he has the
Yeah.
mask on like the thing. I think it keeps us from knowing what's going on in his head.
Yeah, which Norman is in
Yeah.
control?
Because it's I fully I think that like fully the intention was it is Norman Osborn when he goes to feast.
Hmm.
It's actually Norman Osborn being like I think he's genuine up until like they fix Doc Ock.
Hmm.
Once they fix Doc Ock, I think that's when the switch happens, right? Like,
Yeah,
so
I
we
would
get to see
say
kind of like a Norman Osborn, like, oh, I can help. I'm a scientist. Like, he's like, when he says I'm a scientist, everyone lost their shit.
What I saw it as is it was the Green Goblin playing Norman.
Yeah,
That's
just
the way
letting
I
him do
viewed it.
stuff.
Not even just like letting him do stuff, just him controlling it all. Um,
I think
like,
that it was just Norman. I think the goblin is just like, well, I'm gonna wait until my moment
mhm.
to strike, and then he fucking strikes hard.
And then Peter's like, and then with Spider-Man one, I mean, Far From Home, right? It was Far
Far
From
from home.
Home.
Far from home is when he has a spider sense stuff going on.
What was the first one?
Homecoming.
Homecoming. Homecoming, we didn't really get the spider sense.
Yeah.
Far From Home,
We,
we got it more, but it was
we
more like,
yeah. We got it
it,
briefly in Civil War. There was a
yeah,
scene in Civil War where he uses it, and then he barely uses it in Homecoming. And then in Far From Home, it seems like he's like going through some shit.
yeah.
Like, which is it's the same fucking thing that happened in the Tobey Maguire movies,
Mhm.
where he's having weird problems with his powers
Yeah, where
because
he's
of doubt.
having an existential crisis, and that's affecting his powers.
Yeah, like
Um,
it's a whole fucking
and
thing.
then
It's funny.
and then with Far From Home, he uses the spider sense more. He relies on it at the end with Mysterio,
Yeah,
and then in No Way Home, we see him just actively like, oh, threat, 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 threat.
when he gets his soul pushed out of his body, and
Yeah,
he goes. Huh, huh. I thought
uh-huh.
that was a great scene because it's like it really shows you that Spider-Man stuff is completely internal.
Hmm.
Like it's not a conscious response.
Yeah, it's just a response.
Yeah, his body just reacts to shit. Like like
Um,
he's unconsciously like keeping this
yeah,
box away from Doctor Strange. The Doctor Strange fight, by the way, fucking amazing. We'll talk about it in a
it,
second. But
Doctor Strange in the movie was also pretty damn good.
yeah, in terms of like I want to see the new Doctor Strange movie now more than I did before, which is like pretty big. Also, it sounds like there might be one of the other Spider-Man actors in there,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah,
cool.
I've heard Tobey Maguire might be in it.
I've also heard Tobey Maguire because it is Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
It's a Sam Raimi movie.
Um,
I think he would sign right up for
and
that.
then fucking, where that scene where he's curing everybody, and then his spider sense, like you just hear the white noise,
Yeah.
and then he just locks in on Norman, and then whip, and then you just see the immediate change in his demeanor, where
Yeah.
he's like, "Cool, you found me out. I'm gonna fuck you up now."
Yeah. Like Willem Dafoe is one of those actors that everything I see him in, he he's amazing,
He
right?
brings 110% to his job.
Yeah, like I mean, I watched him on an SNL sketch like because he was the host, I think
Hmm.
2 weeks ago, and I was like, wow, he's really good in this SNL sketch. You know what I mean? Like that's how good he is. Like he can make like the most mundane shit like really amazing. Um and the fact that he was able to like re-embody this character after 20 years.
And then
Like
turn it into something else too.
yeah, and like in a different like in a movie with a completely different tone.
Yeah, because in the
There's no
first one,
camp in this movie.
in the first one, he wasn't as physical as the Green Goblin, and that had to do with the way the original suit was made,
Yeah.
where it was very stiff. He couldn't really move. It was almost like Michael Keaton's Batman suit in the
Yes.
Batman '89,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
where Keaton couldn't really move his head, so there was a lot of movements like
Yeah, because it
this.
has this neck thing right there.
Um, but in this new movie with the Green Goblin costume, it was more freeing. And
Yeah.
then just to see the physicality um in the
Through
Green
those
Goblin
floors.
was, oh my god. Like you felt the weight of the hits as they
Yeah.
were being dealt. Um and then yeah, just them two going at it where it's like Norman was like, I've had my beef with my Peter. You're a new one to toy with.
Yeah. It's
Um,
I think the character arc for like Tom Holland's Peter Parker in this movie is really powerful because
Mhm.
like, and this has been pointed out by so many people at this point. It's not a new thing. But it is what I was thinking when I like walked out of the theater. I was like, oh, we finally finished Tom Holland's origin story.
Yeah.
Like we we always assumed that there was like an Uncle Ben in the past or something, or someone who
Mhm.
said something to him. Like we always assumed he already had like great power, great responsibility conversation. But to have it be Aunt May now, after two movies
Yeah.
of us like seeing him as Spider-Man and seeing him grow as Spider-Man, like to being his own person and own character, more independent of like, you know, Tony, the fact that Tony Stark has no touch on this movie at all is its greatest asset.
Mhm.
It's his greatest strength because the number one complaint for the past two Spider-Man movies has
It's
been
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark's enemies, Tom Holland's hero, right? Which, like, I enjoyed like the other two home movies, but they're right. I don't think it
Yeah.
makes them weaker per se, but it's definitely better. Like,
It's a definite crux of those movies.
yeah, like I'll say this: even now, Tom Holland doesn't have like his own villains, like
Yeah.
because those were all the other Spider-Man's villains. So this movie
Mhm.
does have that problem, but it's more interesting when they're Spider-Man villains,
Yeah.
right?
Um, and then and I want to get into Aunt May after this.
Yeah.
But like that fight scene between all of them fighting at the Statue of Liberty, the Statue of Captain
Oh,
America, whatever the fuck you want to call that monstrosity now. Um, like the individual fights and then the choreographed fights together, fucking up the last fight between Tom Holland Spider Man and the Green Goblin.
how
I
vicious it is.
I legitimately thought this would be because with Tobey Maguire Spider Man, it was uh the first villain, Green Goblin died because of their fight.
Yeah.
Doc Ock died because of their fight. Eddie Brock died because of their fight.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be Tom Holland's. That
I did not think for a second that Tom Holland was actually going to get to kill him
mhm.
because I think it would have undercut the entire message of the,
Like
of the movie.
I didn't think Tom Holland was gonna be the direct cause of his death, but I seriously thought the Green Goblin was gonna kill himself and pin it on Tom Holland. Like, I'm going to die, and it's your fault. And then
Oh, I see. So he has the internal struggle.
yeah,
That
um,
I get that. That one makes sense to me.
because like it's something that Green Goblin would do because
Yes.
he's so I don't care about my life because this isn't my life.
He's purely insane.
Because like they had all the villains had that realization that they're all technically dead.
Yeah. That okay. So I think that the idea of bringing these villains in that way was really smart for two reasons. One, it forces the plot to be a little bit more nuanced, where it's like a question of what does it mean to be a hero,
Mhm.
right? Because it's is it I save people when they're there, I save, or like is it I have a great responsibility like to everyone? Is it just a matter of in the moment, like am I could I do it if I wanted to kind of thing? And in this movie, like they push the with great power comes great responsibility thing really hard. They push the you have a duty to help people when you can, no matter how difficult it is, like even at personal risk. And like I think that if they had had the villains come in and it would be and we they didn't have that like overarching, hey, they're all gonna die if you send them back, this wouldn't be as interesting of a movie.
Yeah.
at all. I think
It,
that
it
I think of all the different like ways they could have done it. This was
yeah,
probably one of the best.
yeah, because like the premise of, okay, cool, you've came into our world, and now we're going to help fix you guys
Yeah.
so that you don't die when you go back.
Yeah, I like the idea of like Spider-Man learning that he has to do things for the greater good at personal like jeopardy because
Yeah,
that's kind of
even if
like
it
the
means
crux of
helping the
Spider-Man.
villains. Yeah.
Like that's Spider-Man's big thing is that his life is kind of shit all the time, right? Like
Hmm.
we don't like to see Peter Parker happy.
Yeah,
When
and
when
then
Peter Parker gets too happy, we have to bring him back down to factory 0.
yeah, then it's not only that, it's also him kind of caring about most of his villains.
Yeah, exactly.
Because with a few of them put aside, like the Green Goblin, Kraven the Hunter, and the Scorpion, he doesn't really care about. He won't let them die, but
Yeah.
he's not gonna go out of his way to say, like, in the comics, it was like about 8, 9 years ago with the Rhino,
Uh,
Alexi, the first Rhino,
yeah.
where he retired. He got out of the Rhino suit. He was
Yeah.
done, and then Spider-Man met him. He's like, "Oh, you're not gonna." And then Alexi was like, "No, no, no, I'm done. I'm done." And
Yeah.
Peter looked out for him, and when he got back in the suit because of his wife dying, it broke Peter's heart.
Yeah.
And then when he got Parker Industries in the comics, he hired some of the villains to Parker Industries because they were brilliant scientists
Yeah.
who didn't have a job, and that's why they turned to villainy.
Yeah, it's really poverty that drives villainy. That's
Um,
that's usually the thing.
and then the ways that he helps, that they all help come together and be like, hey, yeah, no, I cured Dr. Connors in my universe.
Yeah.
I had some time to think about Norman. I know how to cure the Green Goblin. And them figuring out the ways to come together.
Isn't it weird though? Okay, okay, this is one of the things that like didn't ruin the movie for me by any means, or like wasn't even like something that I was like, this is bad. Isn't it weird to see Tobey Maguire's Peter like be sciency? A little
no
bit?
because no because in the first movie, they had like that 10-minute montage of him in the room. Oh wait, no.
No. He
That was Andrew Garfield
yes.
Spider-Man.
So like Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, like he has that moment with like Doc Ock, like in the second movie where it's like, oh, I'm kind of like into like
Science.
engineering,
Yeah.
but never chemistry. He doesn't even make his own
Yeah,
web fluid.
that's
He doesn't
true.
have to.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it was strange for me to watch him be like, ah, yes, I'm a chemistry genius kind of deal, you know? Because he never
Showed
shown
that
that
in his
in
movies.
any of his movies. Like they did not lean into the scientific Peter Parker. They lean into the he's a general nerd who takes pictures
Yeah,
and he's
and
more concerned with
he's
saving
kind
people.
of smart. He's kind of smart.
Yeah, yeah, he's greatly intelligent. He picks up on things like when he figured out how to defeat like Venom. That's because he's a smart guy. Like
Yeah.
he figured it out,
Oh,
right?
sound bothered you. Sound is the way.
Yeah, like it's strange to see him
Oh wow,
do
yeah.
chemistry. You didn't
I
think
didn't
about it at
even
all,
think
right?
about that.
I think
No.
it's because I literally watched like again I literally watched like the Spider-Man movies because my sister was watching them. So I watched 1 and I watched 3 and I remember 2. I
Hmm.
remember all of 2. 2 is not like a hard like oh, what happened in 2. I know what happened in 2. He shows like he's really interested in Doc Ock's work. They become friends because Peter's smart. He's really smart with like engineering kind of like stuff.
Yeah.
Like and the nervous system kind of deal. But like we never see him do anything close to chemistry because he doesn't have to make his own web fluid.
Hmm.
So he's the dumbest Spider-Man
And then
of the 3.
the comments between them about their powers and how they work
I love
was also fucking hilarious, because none of, like, Andrew Garfield didn't his Spider-Man didn't realize it wasn't a web shooter
yeah.
the first in the house.
Yeah.
He thought it was a web shooter, and then when he did it, like, oh my god, and then they all
Did
got
that come
grossed
out
out
of
by it.
you? Like, yeah.
Does it only come out of your wrist?
I okay. My favorite scene in this I have two favorite scenes, but they're kind of basically the same. Um when they are talking on the Statue of Liberty before
Oh yeah,
the
and then
fight
like
happens.
Andrew
They do the back
cracks Toby's
cracking
back.
thing
Yeah,
and like all
like
that.
you guys have such cooler
You guys are
villains
so
than I do.
cool. No, no, you're amazing. Say it. You're amazing.
I'm amazing.
Like I I love that. I love that entire scene. That's like to me the best scene in the movie. Um, but really close to that scene is the one where they jump off all together. You hear the woo, and they swing
Hmm.
off of each other,
Yeah,
like, and
yeah.
then land all together. Is the coolest fucking thing
In their
in the
signature poses
MCU.
too.
Like that
In their
is
signature
yes,
Spider-Man pose too. Oh my
it's
god.
so. I got goosebumps when I was in the theater twice, and I
Hmm.
got it just now, just thinking about it because it's amazing to watch
Um.
them like just work together as a team and all that. Like, watch also the Andrew Garfield improvised line of "I love you guys" is so
Hmm.
good. The fact that that line
Uh.
was improv is like
Yeah,
fantastic.
because he's very much the middle brother. He's like
Yeah,
he's in between, and he feels like a fuck up because he
yeah,
has nowhere to go. And like, it was just beautiful. And my favorite scene is when right after Aunt May dies, and they're all on the rooftop, and then Peter is introduced to the two other Spider-Men.
yeah,
Um, because Tom Holland just got those words said to him: "With great power comes great responsibility." And I think it hit so much more that it was Aunt May.
yeah,
Uh, that was his introduction to that phrase because we've seen it twice with Uncle Ben. It
yeah.
wasn't going to hit like if even if we had a flashback at some point in those movies, it would have kind of fallen flat because we've seen that before.
I think I think the big thing is, and I didn't think about this until just now. We don't ever really know Uncle Ben as
Yeah,
a character. Like, I mean, we get him very briefly in the other two series, and we get him briefly sometimes, like starting out in comics. Like in Ultimate Spider-Man, you get him probably like the longest
yeah,
of
because
any
he,
comic
yeah,
because
yeah,
he's there at the very beginning. But we get Aunt May constantly. Aunt May is kind of like a rock for Peter
hmm,
Parker, and we're all familiar with Aunt May from even if we're just talking about like other franchises, comics. We all know who Aunt May is. We all know the function that she serves in Spider-Man's life. She's
yep,
the only person in his life that he like who his family left. So to see her die, that scene is heartbreaking. Tom
because like
Holland acts the fuck out of that scene.
when she got up after the bomb, and I remember looking at my buddy Justin in the movie like she's gonna die.
Yeah.
And he,
The death flag had come up.
yeah, I was, and like when she got hit with it, as she stood up and she was still holding her side, that was the only thing I was looking at. Like, oh, she's gonna die. Oh no, god damn it.
Yeah.
Um, and then that scene, where Tom Holland's was like, Ame told me with great power, and then they finish the fucking line.
Oh,
Fucking amazing. And then Andrew and Toby Spider-Man look at each other, Uncle Ben, Uncle Ben.
yeah.
Um, and they talk about who they have lost, and then for for nothing for Toby Spider-Man, it was Uncle Ben. That was the major loss in his life.
Yeah.
And then but with Andrew, it was Gwen Stacy. And
Yeah.
then you see the look in Andrew Garfield's face, amazing actor in this fucking movie,
So
when
good.
he remembers her and he's like on the verge of a breakdown
Yeah.
on that rooftop.
It's fucked up that the like I think he's the best actor who's played Spider-Man, but he has the worst movies. It's a hard pill to swallow because I went to go back and watch it because of how good he is in this movie. And
Mhm.
watching it, I was like so sad because I was like, maybe I was just in the wrong mindset when I watched it the first time.
I mean, let
I
me watch it again.
like
It's like
I was his performance in this movie made me question like
your view on the
my
Spider-Man
view
movie.
on the Spider Amazing Spider-Man franchise to the point where I watched both because I was like, maybe two isn't as bad
You're
as
like, okay, nope, it's
no,
bad.
two is bad, but I think two. I mean, I don't know how to say this because it sounds stupid, but two is more fun to watch than one.
Mm,
The problems in one are very dull and like you know they're not enjoyable to see. The problems in
yeah.
two are so fucking over the top, ridiculous, funny. I'm really glad they didn't bring back Dale DeHaan or Dane DeHaan or what's his name as Norman Osborn.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm really glad they didn't bring his version of the Green Goblin into this
Into
movie
this movie, yeah.
because it would have been horrible.
And then the scene where Mary Jane, MJ is
Oh,
falling, and then Andrew catches her.
so
Like I
good. I almost
like I
cried.
had I had I had a feeling that what was gonna happen.
Yeah,
To the same friend Justin, I was like, Zendaya's gonna because they had that scene in the trailer where she's falling, and
yeah.
Andrew Garfield is gonna catch her, and
That's what I said when I
be
saw that too. The scene in
and
the
that's
trailer.
that's going to be his like not his redemption because he cannot get redemption for Gwen Stacy, but that's gonna be like his victory to try to get over that.
Yeah,
And like the him catching her and then the hold that he was holding her for like longer than
yeah. He was like,
what the other one
"Are you
like you
okay?"
just see him like, are you okay? Okay, cool. All right, I caught one. I caught one. She didn't die. She didn't break her
Yeah,
neck.
gotta
Got
learn
it.
after one. It's so honestly, I feel like we barely talked about Tom Holland. He's great in this movie. He has a great arc, but like the just seeing the other two Spider-Men is kind of like an overwhelming like excitement,
Hmm.
like of nostalgia, like to the point where I can't stop thinking about it. I can't
Oh,
stop
one
thinking
hundred
about
percent.
those actors coming back to be a part of this franchise.
Hmm.
Like, and the fact that it seems like because this was so popular. Oh, sorry, I have like a little thing. Uh, we're gonna get more
Amazing.
is so amazing. Like,
And it's just the movie is just amazing, spectacular, superior. I'm using all the adjectives. Spider-Man. Uh,
it's
it
the
was a
ultimate
great.
Spider-Man movie.
Um, and,
It's I don't know how they do another movie after this
and
anymore.
I think that's the problem with Tom Holland. That he has trying to go back to that character because it's
I
kind
mean,
of
they signed him up for another three.
they did,
They
but
got
it's
him.
like
Tom Holland, like, I want to retire. I can't imagine playing Spider-Man at 30. It's like the MCU goes, no, no, no. You're in the mouse house now.
you're gonna do it.
Yeah, you're gonna
You're
do
you're
it.
you're contractually obliged to
Yeah. I
do it.
mean, I think that they could do I think if they do another Spider-Man movie, you forget about like the Peter Parker stuff
Mhm.
because we've seen a lot of Peter Parker stuff. And
And
you
then it's
focus
just
on the
gonna focus on
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
specific relationships like that he has with villains where we don't need to see Peter Parker dealing with the repercussions.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I think like if we had Black Cat show up, like
Yeah.
that'd be fascinating. I think the fact that Kingpin is in the MCU, like canonically,
Dude, fucking Charlie fucking Cox as
yeah.
Daredevil.
Oh,
Holy
that's right.
shit.
I forgot he was in that movie. He shows up so early and so briefly, but like I I
I
like
know a really good lawyer.
yeah,
Boom, Matt Murdock.
Rick caught through the floor.
Wah!
Ha! It's so good. It's so subtle. Like and they don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so good. They did
Yeah,
not they weren't
he
like
shows up, he tells Peter the facts, and then he's gone.
yeah, and we knew he was going to be in this movie too, but we because like they had like that thing with the court scene.
Hmm.
And I think they shot that and cut it, like the court scene, which is
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
didn't have one. I I want to see the deleted scenes for this movie. There's got to
Yeah.
be
So
so much good shit.
I heard there's 26 deleted scenes,
Oh,
and I'm going to watch them all.
well, of course. I mean,
Um,
that could be its own like segment on a future episode where we
yeah, when
talk
it comes
about
out.
deleted scenes from like I here's the problem with this movie. I again we're talking about it right now. It's so good. If anything after this is not going to make as much money,
Yeah, because it's already number two.
it's coming up on Avatar, and like that's you know
That's huge. That's fucking huge.
it's crazy. It's something that we didn't think was gonna like be kind of possible for an MCU movie. I think.
Yeah, especially after Endgame.
Yeah, if Endgame didn't do it, but this movie is. I mean, it's this movie is also a huge event, but it's also just a movie. Endgame is just an event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Endgame is barely a movie in
Hmm.
terms of what you would consider a movie because you have to watch like
Infinity War.
you had not just I think you have to watch like all of them to really get Endgame.
The weight of Endgame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you have to watch them all for Infinity War too. I think like without all those other movies, Infinity War means nothing. Endgame means nothing.
Hmm.
Right? They're not like an engage. It's not engaging to watch them because you have no idea what the fuck's happening.
Yeah.
You would be like, oh, well, these characters disappeared. I don't. Why would
I
I care
don't
about
care.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who those people are. If you don't watch the other 20 movies,
Yeah.
like Spider Man, this movie could stand alone. I'm fully sure it could stand alone. If you had like a cursory understanding that there were two other Spider Man franchises, and there's no
Hmm.
one who doesn't know that those movies exist.
Yeah.
The first Spider Man like trilogy is huge. It's still big. People still remember it.
For
Like
good and bad.
if you didn't remember Andrew Garfield stuff, you could still really enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Like I think if you didn't if you were living in a coma for the entirety of like 2000 to 2016, you could still enjoy this movie.
Yeah. Um,
It stands alone.
I again, like, I have no complaints about this fucking movie.
I tried really
And
hard to come up with some.
like, it kind of sucks from this point onwards with MCU movies because
Yeah.
now it's just like, guys, you had Endgame,
How do you top
great,
this?
amazing. It reached number two in the box office, almost got Avatar, and then 4 years, like 3, 4 years later, Spider-Man: No Way Home comes out. It's like,
Yeah.
guys, Endgame is now number three. This shot up to number two. Fuck the rest. This is the gold standard for
Fucking
MCU.
Spider-Man. And it's a character that they don't own.
Which like them not owning it put aside, it it's poetic for me at least because Spider-Man. When you think of Marvel, Spider-Man is
I
there.
do think of Spider-Man first. Because
It's Spider-Man, Stan Lee. Boom, those two, Marvel. And like he
yeah.
brought MCU up so much.
Yeah, like this movie has put me on a Spider-Man kick. I started playing the game again,
Mhm.
like on the PlayStation 5 because I was like, I don't know. I guess like I need a fix. I watched the
I,
entirety
I I
of the
need I
90s
need my
cartoon.
Spider-Man fix.
I watched the entire 90s cartoon again.
Nice.
And at the end of that cartoon, I completely forgot about this. It ends with him going to our world and swinging around with
Yeah,
Stan
wait,
Lee,
with Stan Lee. Yeah, yeah.
which is an insane thing. But like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where you go from here with Spider-Man movies beyond revisiting the old universes. I think Andrew Garfield is like kind of the only way forward for like a solo Spider-Man movie. Everything
Mhm.
else kind of feels like it has to be team up. I would love to see Tom Holland and Charlie Cox team up
in a new
in
Spider-Man
a
movie.
movie where they are taking down Kingpin.
Yeah, like an actual like yeah. So with
That makes the most sense to me.
like with the past Spider-Man movies, he hasn't been your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yes.
Like the first one is the closest we get to him
He's not
being
even in New
the
York in the
neighbor.
second one.
He's not even in New York in the second one. He's in Europe.
Yeah.
And the third one, he's dealing with these fights in New York, but like he's not going after those street level
It's a
crime bosses.
multiversal threat.
And so,
It's not
like you
generic.
said, him and Charlie Cox's Daredevil should definitely that's a great concept. Them taking down Kingpin together
Yeah, because
because
now that we have
that just
Kingpin
reminds
back.
me that just reminds me of the '90s Spider-Man cartoon movie for Spider-Man and Daredevil.
Yeah.
That was the movie. They went to go take down Kingpin.
Yes. I
Um,
I don't know. Like I'm thinking like characters that they could bring in. Like again, I think Black Cat is an easy one. It gives them a love interest of some
mhm,
kind, like where it's like that Tom Holland can feel a little conflicted about.
yeah,
I
where he's still in love with MJ, but she
but
doesn't know him.
yeah, and he doesn't like feel like he deserves to be with her because he puts her in danger, which
Yeah,
is such a Spider-Man issue.
thing. Yeah.
Like where he's like, I can't love you because people I love get hurt. Like,
Mhm. And then with Black Cat though, she can kind of take care of herself.
yeah, and she's bad.
Yeah. Like she can take care of herself. She's bad. And she's on his level more than MJ.
Yes, it's the conversation of, do you want to see your hero with someone that they have to take care of? Do you want to see your hero with a normal person, or do you want to see your hero with another hero or a villain?
Mhm.
Right? And for me, I always think it's more interesting when they're with like a more average like person. It's why I think
Mhm.
Superman and Lois Lane work really well. But I don't know. I'm totally on board for to mix. I know. I'm totally on board to mix it up now, especially because we have like this kind of a we brought Tom Holland Spider Man back to, or like into an age of where we can tell like real comic book stories,
Yeah.
like where he could start showing up just on like the Marvel shows, and it
Mhm.
wouldn't be like, oh my god, how'd they get him like to do this? Like it's like he doesn't have to be the main star right now. He could just be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Like I can also imagine like yes they have him for the 3 movie deal, but I can also imagine instead of 3 movies have it be 2 movies, like the movie right after this, and then a series
I would
like a
die.
6 episode series, and then another movie to close it all out.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know that they'll ever give him up. They need to establish Miles Morales in the universe. That's the next
Yeah.
step. That's like,
Which for me it would be the series him being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man,
yeah.
and then the breadcrumbs for Miles,
I
and
think
then the third movie have Miles being in takeover.
I'm pretty confident because Tom Holland has established that he does not want to be playing Spider-Man forever. But he also said he'll play it as long as it feels right.
Yeah.
That like he's a I think the last interview I saw him with where he was like the most genuine was he said something along the lines of, I do not know what I'm going to do. If I know that if I'm asked to come back, I will come back.
Mhm.
Kind of. Like, but I don't know for how long. So I don't think he's against playing Spider.
Yeah.
But I think the writing is on the wall where at the very least he could take a couple years of not playing Spider-Man once we establish Miles Morales, which is why I think the next Spider-Man movie will have a like end credit scene that teases
Miles.
Miles Morales. And then we'll
Uh,
start getting more like maybe a Spider-Man movie,
Yeah,
which
that
would be
that would be dope.
see, like it's now like now that Peter Parker is like an unknown person, right? And we've like reset him.
It leaves the door wide open
Yes.
for Miles and other characters because not only um we got the Mobius movie coming out, we got the Venom 3 movie coming
Yeah.
out whenever that comes out. And then Tom Holland's trilogy. We're also getting a Madam Web
I
movie.
heard about this and what the fuck?
I have no
What
idea.
does that
And
look like?
if that movie does not just deal with like the absurd amount of Spider-Men, because that's what Madam Web is in the comics.
Yeah.
She is the nexus for the well, she was not anymore, but like
That's like
she
her
was
point though.
she was the doorway into the nexus of the web
Yeah.
of life, the web of all Spider-Men.
Yeah, I
And
just I don't know what a solo Madam Web movie looks like.
I don't know either. And like it's either her becoming the nexus of the web to then reintroduce Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or whatever. But like this No Way Home opens this door for all of this to now happen with the character from this point onwards.
Yeah.
And then
Like
I don't mean to cut you off, but like
no,
I
go ahead.
just thinking about another scene of the movie where we brought up the Tony Stark of it all
Yeah.
in the first two movies. The end of No Way Home officially, for me at least, officially rids Tony Stark's involvement in this because
It has to.
he makes a whole new suit. He he goes in and actually makes his own red and blue Spider-Man suit.
I've been waiting to talk about this because from a VFX standpoint, that suit looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks like it's actual fabric on him. The best shot in any Spider-Man movie, like where the suit looks the most real, is in Amazing Spider-Man 2 at the very beginning where Spider-Man is falling
Yeah.
and the suit is like rippling off of him. That suit looks fucking great. Like all parts aside for that movie, that suit looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
up
you're looking
the
it up right
suit
now.
right now.
Yeah, but I think this new one has that same quality where it's not skin tight. There's fabric loose in places where
Like,
you
I'm not
could
sure
see
if
it.
you can catch this.
Absolutely. Yeah, and he looks like that's Spider-Man.
And like when I saw this suit,
He has a new
because
emblem too.
he has the new emblem on the front and the back, and that the suit to me takes all of their suits and puts it into one.
Yeah.
And it was a good culmination of the Spider-Man movies, Tom Holland's movies, and then the rest of them together to
Yeah.
go forward with this Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's funny cuz this movie was like 20 years in the making if you think about
Mhm. Yeah.
it. Like this movie couldn't exist without like the other 5 movies like from the other or fuck it, they couldn't exist without the other 7 movies.
Mhm.
Um yeah. I was like my math was like there's 7 other movies? Yeah. So in a way, it's kind of I I want to say it's almost more ambitious than Endgame in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like even
Because
though
Endgame was
Endgame was
ambitious because
planned.
yeah.
Endgame was like a planned like hey, we have a decade. But this was
Mhm.
like a almost a happenstance 20-year plan.
Yeah, this was that the pictures on the wall with the thread and the crazy guy right here. It's like,
Yes.
guys, listen. What if we do this?
Yeah. I think like the writer's room for this movie must have been just insane.
Oh yeah.
The amount of stuff that they pitched that got greenlit, like where it's like, yeah, we'll do that. I mean, it's insane because each one of these Like I think Toby Maguire made like $1 million, Andrew Garfield made $1 million, like all the villains made like $1 million, I think. Like the budget right there for this many actors is crazy. To justify it, you have to have a really good idea.
Yeah.
Uh, and you know what? We haven't really talked about Doctor Strange at all because Benedict Cumberbatch is in this movie like quite a bit.
Yeah, he's there at the beginning. He's back again in the middle, and then he's there at the end.
Yeah, and
And
their fight is visually one of the coolest things I've seen
yeah,
in a while.
yeah, it definitely put Spider-Man's agility to the test with him like jumping around.
Yeah,
That scene in the train where they have it going all around,
yeah.
and then them back in the mirror dimension.
The mirror dimension. I forgot because I haven't seen the Doctor Strange movie in so long. It's so fucking cool. Like the
Mhm.
Doctor Strange movie, I remembered it when I was watching this one because in Doctor Strange, I remember going to see it in theaters and being like, "Holy shit, this movie is so much fun just to look at."
Yeah, because like the landscape of New York kind of caving in on itself
It
to create
flips
that. Yeah, oh yeah,
like
it flips, inverted in on itself, and they're
there's a
still
canyon.
fighting. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they just keep going. And then when Tom Holland Spider-Man realizes that it's all just math.
oh yeah. Again, like going back to Peter Parker's roots, where
Yeah.
he sees it, he notices it, and he puts a plan in motion.
Yeah, I think this movie did a really good job of showing how smart Peter Parker is.
Yeah,
Like, and again, it's weird because we were talking about how dumb uh Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker is in the sense of compared to the other two.
yeah, and like I
Like
think, go ahead.
like I was just saying, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man is easily the smartest out of those three.
Hmm.
With the least experience, easily the smartest, and you get to see it constantly in this movie
Yeah,
because
and like
he's fixing
it,
problems that the other two couldn't.
yeah, and to your point, in the first two of Tom Holland's, we didn't really get the super smarts coming out of him
Yeah.
because he had Tony Stark.
Yes.
Peter's smarts took a back seat because he had Daddy Stark give him the new suit and then give him the Infinity War suit, super high tech shit.
Yeah.
And then he had Nick Fury kind of take care of him. Well, not Nick Fury, but
We
you know,
we get it a little bit in Far From Home where he redesigns his own suit for the
yeah,
first time, like the one that's not like just a hoodie and like some goggles,
hmm,
you know, like where he designs like the suit that he wears at the beginning of this movie.
yeah,
Um, so we get like a touch of it, but this movie really displays it. Where the part where he fixes Doc Ock, like
hmm,
where he puts a new chip back there, and then like Doc Ock is like the voices have stopped, and it's like, oh, Peter Parker is actually like a genius
hmm,
because that's something that like it seems like such a simple fix,
yeah. That
honestly.
Maguire's Peter didn't think of
Yeah, I mean, Tobey Maguire's Peter talked him into pulling a son into
self-sacrifice.
the
Yeah,
water. Like, which I forgot that's how that movie ended, where like a little bit, like I was like, oh, that's right. He holds that nuclear sun and then he jumps into the river,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
when I think about it, insane. Just an
Because like,
insane ending.
how did the water make the sun stop?
Yeah, it's literally nuclear energy. All those every fish for like
Dead,
miles is
dead.
dead. Like,
Then he leaves like Mary Jane on like a barge and then just swings off.
yeah,
And like I'm really glad uh we didn't see Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane.
yeah.
Um,
I think it could have been
like
fun for like half a second.
it would have been great to see at the end, when they get sent back to their worlds, a little snippet of them
I
swinging in their New Yorks.
I would have loved an end credit scene where there's a cut scene from Amazing Spider-Man 2 that I've seen where or it's like a picture of it. Like they did general photography for this scene where it's Andrew Garfield sees who was going to play Mary Jane in the third one.
Mhm.
So they had a Mary Jane set up in like the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I would have loved it
If we got
if
that
we
in
got
this,
that scene at like as an end credit scene for this movie.
that would have been that would have been a nice
Like,
shimmer of light for his Spider-Man,
yeah,
where
if they
you're
if they
you're gonna
don't
be all
plan on
right.
doing something else,
Hmm.
if they're not gonna bring his character back again,
Yeah.
that would have been a great send off.
What I know we were talking about Black Cat earlier for Tom Holland because like they did the Gwen Stacy. We've seen plenty of Mary Jane. I wouldn't mind if obviously it'd be great if Tom Holland got his version of Black Cat and then them two have their chemistry. I wouldn't mind Andrew Garfield getting with Black Cat.
I think that one actually makes more sense.
Like like obviously a very different Black Cat than what we've seen because we he said that I stopped pulling punches. He's very much a darker Spider-Man. I
Yeah,
would like a lighter Black Cat to bring down his darkness.
I just had a thought. If so they've already announced that there's a Craven movie
Yeah,
coming, right? What if they? So they're like setting up a lot of stuff. Like so they have Mobius or Morpheus. Fuck,
Mobius.
Mobius. My brain. I always get it confused. They have Mobius. They have Craven. They have Venom. If they set up like a Black Cat movie and then just brought Andrew Garfield Spider Man into for Sony, they have a whole fucking universe there.
Yeah,
Like legitimately, they don't really need more.
yeah, and
Like
another thing I was kind of upset about is the odd number of villains. There were five villains.
yeah.
I really wanted them to round out and
Oh, you
have
wanted
them
a
be.
Sinister Six.
I wanted a Sinister Six.
I was like, what's he talking about?
I wanted a fucking Sinister
Sure,
Six.
sure. I
Like,
mean,
I
yeah,
know there was talk about bringing back Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio in this
that would
fight,
have been too much.
or like another version of Mysterio in the movie.
Yeah,
Uh, because like towards the end when they're seeing the multiverse in the sky, you see Craven the Hunter,
yep.
you see Mysterio, and then you see the Rhino.
I think. So here's what I think. I think if they brought the Rhino in, a character that we've barely seen, it would have been
Mhm.
super funny and really great.
Like they just take care of. He's the
They,
first one they get
yeah,
rid
yeah,
of.
exactly. They take care of him immediately, and they don't have to deal with him for the rest of the movie. No,
Yeah,
better yet, Andrew Garfield, like he beats up the Rhino, and that's his entrance.
yeah, that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, it would have been pretty funny. Uh, I don't think like, but I here's my concern about anything changing in this movie could drastically change it
Yeah,
to the
there's a
point
reason
where
why.
it wouldn't be as good. Like, and I'm like, I don't know if it could have been better.
It could not have been better. I just wish for an even number of villains.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Because my brain did go there when I was watching it. I'm like, this is so close to a Sinister Six thing. It's so close. It's just a little
Yeah,
off. It does. It looks like that fucking meme at some points where it's like, yeah, me and the boys. Like, you know what
yeah.
I'm talking about? Like it. Like that meme popped into my head multiple times. But I'm willing to accept the limitations of we had 5 movies instead of 6 to pull from.
Yeah.
If there was an Amazing Spider-Man 3, I think that there would have been 6 villains.
Hey, because I know the Amazing Spider-Man 3, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, they had set up a Sinister Six because
Yeah,
they showed the showcase of like the Vulture wings, Doctor Octopus arms, and just the rest of whatever.
yeah. It was literally like the
Um,
entire point of that like second movie. Like the showing off all that shit was such a tease.
yeah,
They had Doc Ock like things in there, and I didn't notice that until I watched it more recently, and I was like, oh, they were really
Yeah,
pushing.
like they were pushing for that, and then also a deleted scene from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Peter's dad is alive.
That's dumb. I'm sorry. No, he fucking he was in a fucking plane crash
Yeah, so it was
after
like, have
fighting
have
for
you
his
seen that
life.
deleted scene?
No.
Yeah, so it's like he finds like an old notebook from his dad in like an old briefcase. Um, he goes through like the attic or whatever, finds the briefcase from his dad, finds a notebook with like formulas and this and this and this or
Yeah.
whatever. It was very much like Ultimate Spider-Man's dad,
Yeah.
how he
He
had the
created
journals,
Venom.
whatever. He created Venom, and
Yeah.
so fucking this Peter goes to the location in the notebooks, and this it's like it's this uh redone train car that's done as a laboratory that comes up from the ground.
Yeah, that's in the movie.
But then he exits it, goes to his dad's grave, and then fucking his dad's there. He's like, "Oh, you found my notebook,"
That's so dumb.
and then the scene ends just like
My
that.
here's the thing. If I had seen that, I that movie would have been 10 times dumber.
Yeah,
Because
it,
but
it
here's the thing. That makes you know what, I take it back. That makes more sense than what they actually did, where they teased a bunch of Peter Parker's parents shit,
mhm.
who I don't give a fuck about. Like,
Yeah,
you could cut all of that stuff, and the movie would probably be better. But if you add in a point where his dad actually shows up, it actually makes sense what they were doing.
yeah, and like that deleted scene only reminds me about excuse me, Ultimate Spider-Man's Clone Saga, where one of his clones
Oh my god.
got aged up to
Yeah.
look like his dad, and everybody thinks it's his dad, but it's just another clone.
That that arc is so sad. I'm
Oh yeah.
rereading Ultimate Spider-Man right now because I pushed my friends to read it.
Hmm.
I pushed James to read it, and I pushed Erica to read it. Because Erica saw the Spider-Man movie and she's like, "Oh, I want to read more Spider-Man stuff." And so I was like, "Read Ultimate Spider-Man. It's easily digestible."
Hmm.
Um and like the amount of stuff that comic sets up that's actually in the MCU is quite a lot,
Yeah.
just in terms of how everything functions and like how the characterization of MCU Spider-Man. It's pretty close.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think about if what else there is to say about this movie. So, having everyone forget Peter Parker is a great fucking decision. I think we
Dude,
agree on that.
that funeral scene with Happy Hogan just like not knowing who the fuck he is at
Yeah.
Aunt May's grave,
Yeah.
fucking brutal.
I I think that all the scenes that happen after everyone forgets who he is are really, really well done and very carefully constructed in a way that makes the ending really work.
Hmm.
Because if he walked in and I have when he walked into the coffee shop and MJ sees Ned, I half expected MJ and Ned to
Them to
be
be
a couple.
together,
Yes,
yeah,
right? Right? It's like it feels like that for a second. And then I'm like, "Oh, thank God. Thank God it's not like, oh, his friends are hooking up." Cuz I think it would have taken away from like his decision to not tell her who he is.
yeah.
Cuz
Then
it's a
he would have immediately told
yeah,
her.
cuz it's a powerful moment, right?
Yeah, where he's just
Like
like, "I'll just take a coffee."
yeah, he
Yeah,
takes the coffee, he like sees her bandage, like, which is
and then
like,
he
oh,
spits some of her quotes back at her.
yeah, it's great. And I normally I think it's one of those things that I would hate if it wasn't done so well.
Hmm.
So I don't know. The writing for this movie is just it's really good. I don't know. The beginning is maybe the weakest, right?
Yeah,
Like overall, like when he's in school, it's funny. The writing's good, but once you get to like that middle part, the beginning is like completely forgettable.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Because I just
I don't
remembered,
think about it at all.
like, I just remembered, like, Flash Thompson had a few parts in the beginning where he came out with a book
Yeah,
about being Spider-Man's best friend.
Flashpoint.
Yeah. Oh my god. And like, I don't know if that made me hate this version of Flash Thompson more because
I
I already hated him. I hated him
yeah,
since his introduction because when I think of Flash Thompson, there hasn't been a good character for him. The closest I think of is Andrew Garfield's Flash Thompson,
I agree. I think Andrew Garfield's Flash Thompson is the most comic book accurate Flash Thompson.
because we
R-
had Frank Maginello's Flash Thompson in Spider-Man 1. I
It's
mean,
so good.
he was just a douchebag.
It's so
Um,
funny though. Looking back, seeing him as Flash Thompson
yeah.
is so fun,
Um,
especially when you know that he auditioned for Peter Parker, which is crazy.
and then the Flash Thompson in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, yeah, he was a douchebag. But when he found out Uncle Ben died, he went to try to be like, "Oh my God, I am
Yeah,
so sorry, Peter."
yeah, because he's more
Um,
like that kid that you grew up with,
mhm,
who's like an asshole, but you guys grew up together.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Uh,
that's the energy. I think this Flash Thompson though for the MCU, if I'm being like bullies like in nowadays aren't like violent normally.
mhm.
You know, they do more like social things to
Yeah, and
fuck
like
with you.
this is the Flash Thompson for the new age, where
Yeah.
it's like more like cyberbullying or
Yeah,
something along those
he's
lines.
a huge douche. Everyone knows he's a douche, but he's popular because he's like it's kind of funny, right?
Yeah,
But he's not that different from the rest of them, I think, which makes it even funnier.
yeah. I just had wished for a Flash Thompson that we could have seen, because the arc for Flash Thompson in the comics, he was the douchebag. He got out of the douchebag phase. He joined the military,
Oh my god.
um, and became Spider-Man's number one fan. Became Agent Venom,
Wait,
and then died a hero.
wait. I had a thought. What if this Flash Thompson gets the Venom symbiote?
Don't put that in
Would
the
you
air.
die?
Don't put that out there. Don't put that in the
I'd be
universe.
so upset, but also I think for like a one-off bit, if he had it for like a second, you
See,
know,
I would like
and then
it
the Venom symbiote
only
goes,
if
"No, fuck that."
I would only like it if it mimicked the comic where the Venom symbiote got attached to a rich kid who bought the symbiote,
hmm
and the symbiote ditched him midair.
I I think it'd be really funny if for like half a second he gets the Venom symbiote. Like the symbiote, I think the way I would see it is the symbiote's trying to get to Peter Parker.
Yeah, because that's the last thing that part of the symbiote remembers.
Yeah, because they were talking about Spider-Man,
Yeah,
right? So it's trying to get to Spider-Man. And because Flash is like a Spider-Man fan, he's like around or something. And then the symbiote jumps on Flash to get to Spider-Man. For like half a second, Flash's Venom. We all have a good laugh about it because Flash is like, "Oh, I was a superhero. Did you know about that?"
yeah,
Like, it's comic relief. I think any long-term thing, it wouldn't be good.
yeah. No, um, I am looking forward to seeing a Venom in the MCU with
Yes.
the classic insignia and like just the classic black Spider-Man suit for Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah, I love. Okay, so we didn't talk about this. And for anyone who was crazy enough not to stay for the end credits scene. Who are you? I don't know like who I'm talking to right now. Uh but if you didn't, the scene is it's Eddie Brock from the Venom movies
In a bar
at
try to
a
decode the whole Marvel universe.
yeah. And apparently he's been there for days talking to this guy who's describing like Thanos and shit to him and he's writing it down on a napkin and stuff and he's hand. And when at the end of the movie, when all the villains disappear, Eddie Brock also disappears, and the a little piece of Venom is on the bar. So there's Venom in the MCU.
Yeah, I'm so happy that it's not. I'm happy that it's not Tom Holland's Venom because that is a very chaotic interpretation of Venom,
Yes.
and that we're gonna get something completely different.
Yeah. Like I'm just, I don't know, I'm excited.
Like if we were gonna get, because I was talking with my buddy Justin about it, that if we got, I just said his name,
Flash
Venom.
Thompson.
No, Venom.
Oh,
Who's the actor?
Carnage.
Who's the actor who plays Venom?
Oh, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. I was gonna say Tom Holland again.
A lot of
If we
Toms.
got if we got Tom Hardy's Venom in the next Spider-Man movie, like he got left behind,
Hmm.
um, by the symbiote shielding him or whatever,
Yeah.
um, it would be a good arc to have the symbiote leave Eddie Brock wholesale for Peter because Peter is a more physical compatibility to the suit.
Yes. I
Like the with Eddie, he has to eat brains and do this whatever because I I don't think his metabolism and body can keep up with the suits,
yeah, because he's
but
just a
Peter
guy.
can because Peter is a mutate.
Yes. Well, actually, we're going to find out what Peter is in the Spider-Man cartoon that they're releasing on Disney Plus
What do
freshman
you
year.
mean?
It's we get to see Peter Parker get bitten by the spider as
This Peter
a
Parker?
yeah. Did you not hear
Oh
about
shit!
this?
I did
Oh,
not hear about
so
this.
it's called Spider-Man freshman year and it's animated. So, but it's Tom. I think
Oh.
Tom Holland's gonna be voicing Peter Parker, and like all the characters are coming back to like voice
Mhm.
the characters. But it's gonna be like I think probably like a 10 episode like series on Disney
Oh,
Plus.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Um but no, I think that what you're talking about with Venom is would be really cool to see again with like a Sony Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think there's room. I think if this movie showed anything, audiences understand the multiverse.
Mhm.
It's not complicated.
Yeah,
No
so
one
now
walked
there's like
out of that movie being like, I don't know what I can't
yeah, so
really
now
tell
now
why
now
there
there's
was three of
more
them.
and now there's more room because of this movie. It's like, okay, you get the multiverse. Now we're gonna dabble in some other shit in some other movies.
Yeah, like I think the like a Sony Spider-Man cinematic universe is not like crazy now.
Yeah, that now they can have like Tom Holland Spider Man and then maybe Andrew Garfield Spider Man at the same fucking time.
Yeah, the fact that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man might be in the new Doctor Strange is so exciting.
Hmm.
Like, because I of all of them, I don't think we'll ever see him again. Like in
Oh
this
yeah,
capacity,
yeah. 'Cause
I
Tobey
think he came
Maguire's a bit
back
too old.
just for
Yeah.
this movie and was like that he's happy to do it, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like, because Spider Man is like it's his biggest role.
Yeah.
Like he could have retired on Spider Man, but all three of them are big on like kind of like indie films.
Hmm.
So I think what they said actually was like it felt kind of like shooting an indie film for this movie because there was like a lot of openness from the director.
Yeah, there was more freedom to do what they wanted and
Yeah.
improvise lines
Yeah.
and then like really get into the characters.
Yeah, and I love hearing that because whenever like there's two ways movies get ruined nowadays, I think. And it's when the studio like fucks with the director and when the director fucks too much with the
With the actors.
actors. So it's like as as long as like upper management doesn't get involved, the only real problem can be the director.
Mhm.
Like I mean, there are bad actors, but like a good director can get a bad actor to give a good performance,
Yeah,
right? And I don't know. I think John Watts is like I think he's killed this trilogy. Honestly,
100%.
I think you can tell that him and Tom Holland work really well together.
And then the other post-credit trailer for Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. We got a trailer at the end.
Yeah, at the
Like
very end.
um that trailer has me so pumped for it because we see Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch again,
Yep.
Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. We see a few other characters. Monica Rambeau is making an appearance in the show, in the movie. And then also one of the more parts that I'm excited about is we're getting America Chavez in this fucking thing.
Yeah,
Which is like, if people don't know who America Chavez is, um, she is a Afro Latina superhero who her power is to actively break through the multiverse.
it's so cool.
Like she is a multiversal guardian, and she comes into these different universes to try to save them. On top of fucking her super strength and flight and invulnerability and shit.
Yeah. Honestly, I I went from being like, okay, there's a Doctor Strange movie coming out to being like, oh my god, this Doctor Strange movie is gonna be so fucking good. You know? And it didn't take much.
No. And I think the Doctor Strange movie is gonna help with the character because they just finished off. This could be a topic for a Cole comic catch up either next week or the week after, because there's been a lot going on in comics the past 2 months.
Yeah.
Um,
Since we
the
last had an episode.
the death of Doctor Strange just finished out with issue number 5 last week, and it's a bit of a fucking doozy.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a doozy. We have Devil's Reign happening right now.
I like Devil's Reign. I like okay, so we'll say that this is like basically the end of our Spider-Man thing.
Yeah,
Let's talk a little comics because we haven't done a podcast in a while, so like let's talk a little bit. But uh final thoughts, movie's great.
go
Like
watch it
go see it. If you
3 times.
watched all of this and you haven't seen it, shame on you.
Go
Go
watch it
see
three
it.
times. Go
Yeah,
watch
go
it three
watch it
times.
3 times, make it beat Avatar.
Yeah,
If we had Spider-Man as like the top movie of all time, or even like a year, that'd be that'd be pretty fucking cool.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I best MCU movie, best Spider-Man movie. Um, one of the
Overall,
best
it's just
movies
an
I've
amazing
seen
movie.
in a very long time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's one of my favorites now. It's easily in the top five.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything to add to that?
No, that was a pretty good summarization.
All right. Well, let's talk Devil's Reign a little bit because I don't normally read Marvel,
Mhm.
but I'm reading this.
And like, part of me is like kind of let down by it because it definitely reads like another Civil War
I was gonna say it
with like
feels like Superhuman Registration Act kind of
yeah,
like shit.
but like only centered in New York.
Yeah, with
And
Tony Stark
all of
running as mayor of New York.
Luke Cage.
Wasn't it Tony Stark and then Am I thinking of
Tony
Luke Cage?
brought it up, and
Oh,
then
yes.
everybody shut him down.
That's right. That's right.
It's Luke Cage is running for mayor of New York with the help of the other heroes.
If
Um,
Luke Cage becomes mayor of New York, that'd be kind of a cool thing
I,
for
I I think I
Marvel.
think that's how it's gonna end,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that because it'll bring a new it'll bring new blood to the character of Luke Cage because that has been kind of stagnant. It
Yes.
picks back up with the Netflix series a few years ago, but since that's died down, the character has also kind of died down, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to have him come back up on top, and we get a new Luke Cage run where we see him and his family with Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Um, but also like you said, it reads like another superhero registration act, and this just war between Kingpin and the heroes of New York, um, and all of it. And another thing I have it all of it from a file that is blank. That
Yeah.
is how it all started with Daredevil saying, "You know what? I'm gonna get out of your life because I think that'll just solve things between me and you. You do your good thing. You be the best mayor of New York as you can, and I'm just gonna continue being Daredevil." And then off of Daredevil severing or attempting to sever their relationship, Kingpin loses it and immediately tries to blackmail him again,
Yeah.
only to see that the file's blank.
He's like a jilted ex.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, and
It's like
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why Kingpin cares that much.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's another thing where it's like, dude, there've been points in the comic where they've gotten along, the majority of it where they haven't gotten along, and then another part where they've just stayed out of each other's way.
yeah.
And that could have easily happened again.
I
Yeah, but uh,
yeah. I the way I read it was it's not so much about the fact that Daredevil like that he doesn't know who Daredevil is. It's the fact that he doesn't know how
he doesn't know that.
this file is blank. He doesn't
Yeah.
understand what happened, which is like it's like what can he trust now?
Hmm.
So he's tired of like superhuman metahumans like in like New York.
Yeah, and a few other things are happening in the Marvel universe.
Spider-Man
Um,
right now,
yeah, with Ben Riley. Yep.
which is insane. Like because again, it's one of those things where we don't like to see Peter Parker too happy. So we've broken all of his bones. Like that's essentially what they
We put
did.
him in
That
a coma.
from an editorial standpoint, that is why this is happening. Peter Parker is things are going too well for him, so we got to take him down.
And then with Ben Riley, it's like, okay, cool. He's still Peter Parker. Things are going too great for him. Time to bring him down.
Yeah, it's honestly like again, I don't read Marvel much, but I'm into this shit. Like whenever
Um,
they kick stuff up, that's when I get in.
and they I'm not sure if you've read the new run for the Incredible Hulk.
I have not.
Um, where it is you read Immortal Hulk?
I've read a good chunk of it. I haven't finished it.
Yeah, but you know how that Hulk is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, completely different. It's like they forgot all that happened,
It,
and it fucking lost me. Still good. It's very
it's just different
interesting. It's just very different.
and in a confusing way.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to think what else. Iron Man is now a god. Yeah, he has gained cosmic awareness
Uh-huh.
and is now a cosmic entity.
Stop. Just shut up.
Yeah, he is now
That's
a cosmic entity. And what happens when you give Iron Man these kinds of powers? He tries to fix them like Iron. He tries to fix the world wholesale with his brain
I
by giving his brain to everybody.
ew.
He
That's
literally made everybody on Earth as smart as him.
that's a horrible plan. You would
and
think,
it backfired immediately.
yeah, you would think someone as smart as Tony Stark would understand that being smart is not the prerequisite for a good world.
Yep, nope, he did it, and and then immediately failed.
Oh my god.
Um,
I might
the
honestly, I might have to read that
we
because it
also
sounds
got
funny.
Avengers Forever, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Where it's like just it's they're Justice League incarnate.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's like alternate versions of the heroes, like coming together. Like in like the main character of this series is, I would say, Robbie Reyes' Ghost Rider.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he's a variant in his own world.
Oh,
Because there is no other Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider in the multiverse.
that's that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then they have a version of Tony Stark who is Ant-Man.
Sorry. Did you
Like
say
that's how he started out as
Tony
Ant-Man.
Stark is Ant-Man?
Yep.
But he's like Tony Stark smart, but he just uses pin particles kind of thing?
Yep. Yeah, he's in, and it's like he's Stark smart using pin particles, and he's an archaeologist.
Wait,
Because
what?
on his world there are no heroes.
But why is he an archaeologist?
Because the last heroes were the Avengers of 10,000 BC. Those were the last heroes on that earth.
I I'm
And
sorry.
so like
Everything that you're saying is like frying my brain.
so have you seen the Avengers of like 1 million BC,
No.
10,000 BC?
I
So
don't know
it's
what
just
you're talking about.
so the Avengers of like the prehistoric age um
Why do they need
was
Avengers?
to
What are they
battle the first
avenging?
the Celestials. They're the ones who killed the first
Oh.
Celestial.
Okay, that sounds cool actually.
Yeah, so if you read the new Avengers run, that gets brought up. But like it's a Ghost Rider who's riding a mammoth. Like that's his Ghost Rider ride, a mammoth.
Okay, wait. Is the mammoth a skeleton?
It's on fire.
So wait, it's just a mammoth that's on fire.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm
Um,
hearing you right.
yeah,
Because what you're
it's the
saying
Phoenix.
sounds insane.
It's the Phoenix.
Okay.
Like the Phoenix
No,
is
I
in a
understand.
woman. Yeah. It's the first Black Panther.
Uh-huh. That
It
tracks.
is it is Agamotto, the Eye of Agamotto.
Yes.
It's him.
Yeah.
It is the Star Brand, which is
Okay.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
and Odin.
See that one's weird to me.
Yeah, Odin is, very clearly the Thor of this
Yeah.
group, and this is when he first forged Mjolnir,
Okay.
where Mjolnir, the God Storm, whatever, like he throws it and it refuses to go back to him. So he has to pick it up. He has to punch it, pick it up, curse at it, and then carry on his way.
I Everything that you just said sounds so insane to me, and yet I really want to read
Yeah,
that.
and then this comic, the introduction of those Avengers bled out into the rest of the other like the modern day Avengers,
Sure.
where they rewrote who Thor's parents are. So Odin is still his father,
Okay. I was about to
but
say.
his mother is no longer Freya. It's the Phoenix.
There's a lot of cool implications there.
Yeah,
Like, there's a lot to work with. So I'm not mad.
yeah. So the Phoenix is his birth mother. Freya is still the one who raised him. But yeah, the Phoenix is his birth mother.
All right.
Yeah, and then now they're dealing with a multiversal threat in the form of the Cabal, like a multiversal cabal run by a Supreme Doom.
Sure.
Like this is a Doctor Doom from a different universe, but has like amassed different people, different villains from other universes to then attack the other Earths and take them over.
You know, every time you talk about Marvel stuff, I'm
It's
like,
wild. It's wild.
it sounds so fucking insane to me. Because it's always like celestial this, eternal that, fucking multiversal threat this, like all over the top insane shit, tying things. It's that meme. It's that meme with Charlie Day like fucking putting
Yep.
pins on a
Yep.
board and
Yep.
like going like
100. That
ah.
is the Marvel universe
That's the Marvel
because
universe.
Doctor Doom, this Doctor Doom, his cabal is the Necro Skull,
Stop.
which is the Red Skull and Venom combined. Um, the Ghost Goblin, the Goblin Rider, which is a Ghost Rider who's the Green Goblin. Um, this is a Dark Phoenix who has a mind controlled Wolverine.
Yeah. Honestly,
Yes,
that one makes the most sense.
it's like this Wolverine has like it has the claws, whatever, whatever, but like like it is a like it is brain dead. This Wolverine is brain dead.
He's like a
It is
pet,
only yeah, it's a pet, but like his claws are also
or maybe more of a
not
puppet.
yeah, they're not made out of adamantium. If I'm remembering correctly, it looks like diamonds, like what Emma Frost turns into. That's what the
Ooh,
claws look like.
that actually sounds badass.
Um, and yeah, that's this team of god. I think I'm forgetting one. I don't know. Also, Namor joined the Avengers,
Oh my god.
or
It-
he's trying to.
I feel
The
like
X Men are also fucking wild at this point.
there's a lot to digest here. I
Yeah, the X Men are also fucking wild. Captain Krakoa.
wow. Wow,
Yep,
wow, wow, wow,
yep,
wow.
yep.
Do you want to take a second and talk about Dark Knights of Steel numbers? I don't think we talked about 2 on the podcast.
I think we talked about two because two was Kara just decimating, like going to fucking
She dropped his
uh
son. Yeah, oh no, we did
dropped
talk
his
about it.
son.
We did.
Yeah.
You want to talk about 3?
Three was her killing Jefferson, right?
Yes, it ends with her killing Jefferson. The Metal Men are in it.
Yeah, and she kills them,
Yeah.
and then Bruce gets exposed to kryptonite,
Yes.
and that's when it's like, oh yeah, you have powers.
Yeah. Honestly, the setup, and again, I know 4 is out. I just have not been able to get to my comic shop this week.
Yeah, four was the good flashback
Yeah.
to all of this.
Yeah. And I can't wait to read that because 3 honestly for me feels kind of like a filler episode,
Yeah.
right? Like I mean, it's stuff that I think we need, right? It's just meh.
I mean, I get that more from issue 4, but like not like it's like meh, but like okay, cool. We didn't need this. We could have gone forward, but
Yeah.
it's good to know this information.
I think it'll be I think these like we're at the point where we're getting mostly political intrigue probably, and
Yeah,
like that oh it's the only reason that it's like kind of is because
yeah,
we don't have the rest of the story to read yet.
like with Jefferson kind of provoking Diana into leaving Themyscira
Yeah.
and just removing her off the board. Like Diana could have swayed her mother to side with the elves, but now she's just gone, and now he has had them
Yeah.
in his pocket, and then he dies because
I
Kara kills him.
I thought like I think it's really interesting how he went to Themyscira and he's like, yeah, I killed the king. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, you're just not even gonna deny it.
Hmm.
Like, and then we learn that the threat might actually not be the it might not actually be talking about like Superman and his family.
Yeah.
Like, which is I think a good twist already. Like right off the bat, that's a good twist.
Yeah, because it goes back to the whole thing in like stories and like myths or whatever. Don't outright trust a prophecy.
Yeah. Prophecies are meant to be interpreted in many ways, like, and they're always like that in
Yeah,
any
because
kind of medium.
like strange new visitors from another world. Okay, yeah, the elves fit that,
Yeah,
but who else fits that?
yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited for more. As always, Tom Taylor's
Mhm.
still number one writer in my heart.
Yep.
But you know,
The, his run on Nightwing still pretty fucking great.
yep. His run on Nightwing's really great. His Superman run is still really great. Like, I'm enjoying everything that he's writing still.
Yeah.
And
The
now he's
only
DC exclusive.
yeah the only thing kind of like putting me off about DC right now is mm, is Batman. I would say
Yeah, I've stopped reading Batman a little bit
because
because I'm more
uh
interested in Nightwing.
I mean
I think
yes, but also like
I
I
think
feel like
that's it.
they just kind of dropped Future State
Yeah,
because like they were releasing like the glimpses into the future with Future State, the magistrates, but like it's gone. The magistrate is done. Um
yeah.
and like now those comics kind of mean nothing.
They're Elseworlds at this point. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I think the idea was like future state was supposed to be like a possible future, not the future.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Or at least at this point, that's how I would think about it.
Yeah, and it's like it's not
Which,
all of Future State. It's just the Batman ones.
yeah. But like when I think about it though, like I mean, I don't like all of future state.
Hmm.
So if they want to change some shit, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you read through all of Je- Lucius Fox's sons? I keep forget. I want to say his name's Jefferson.
Jace or Jax right now. He
Jace
cha-
Fox.
well, he goes by something else.
Have you read his through line to where it's at right now?
I haven't read like the new ones.
Okay, because
I
like
read the first two issues.
because they set him up for something which I think is pretty interesting. That he's not going to be based in Gotham.
Yeah, that's what they're saying about Batman too,
I mean, again, I
which
don't know.
is
This is why I lost interest with a Batman at the moment.
yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be another event involving Batman that'll
Honestly,
throw him somewhere else, and then
they'll
I'll
get
have
like
to read.
they'll get an amazing writer on him. Not that the writer on Batman right now is bad, but like I don't know. I'm not interested in like the direction.
Yeah, I just don't know the direction it's going
Yeah,
because like
like
I was very interested in seeing the deconstructed Batman that we got in Future State, where he has to rely on solely his detective skills and what he can scrounge around because he no longer has access
yeah.
to anything.
Yeah, I think that was like basically my favorite future state story was the Batman future state stuff.
Yeah, and then
Um,
now we're not getting that, so now I don't know, or
yeah,
we're not getting that yet. Again, I don't know the direction it's going.
I think the issue is where would you go after that
Hmm.
with Batman? I like it's kind of like future state Batman is kind of a dead end.
Hmm.
So I understand why they're not making it the canon. Like even though it kind of seemed like they were pushing for that, they're
Yeah.
doing a Death of the Justice League thing right now, where which was funny because it was right after Tom Taylor signed on, and it's like he's already killing superheroes was like the joke that
And
everyone's
now,
making, and now like the Justice League's dead, and it's like, um, but I don't know. I haven't been keeping up enough to know what that's about. Uh, I have a big backlog, like
okay,
like an
this
obnoxious backlog.
we can talk more about it, either next week or the week after, whenever we
Yeah,
get together again.
I think
Like really go into comics.
yes, I think we'll go really into comics. I do want to like touch on something though. Have you heard about Beyond the White Knight?
Yes, with the new Batman Beyond. Oh yeah,
That's so fucking exciting.
oh yeah.
That world, like, if you didn't read Batman White Knight, it's all about the Joker becoming like sane
And then
and
doing
fixing
Batman.
Gotham.
Yeah.
He
And
basically
then
makes Batman obsolete.
now with Beyond the White Knight, Batman's in jail.
Yeah, as he
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah, he's in jail for his crimes against the city of Gotham and its people. Through not direct means, but like him driving on rooftops, him blowing up buildings.
Honestly, Batman is like, if there was one thing, that world's Batman, and maybe the main universe's Batman is a fucking menace.
Yeah.
like, like to like poorer neighborhoods, Batman is a very scary person.
Ah, but you
Yeah,
smoking weed? Ah,
yeah,
ah,
exactly.
ah.
Like Batman is just essentially just a cop that like has
Like no rules or
no rules or
regulations.
regulations at all. Like so when you look at Batman that way, it's really uh I don't know, it's different.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Um, we are reaching the 2 hour mark.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to stop. But like
Yes.
I think we'll probably I think the best way for the podcast to go forward, because most things come out every 2 weeks anyway,
Hmm.
is for us to do a
A
bi-weekly.
bi-weekly.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
because
I'm down for that.
I mean, if we want to like talk about something like in between the weeks, we can do like minier episodes like about topics like we
Yeah,
were doing before. But like the weekly like comic discussions are always the best
yeah,
that we have. So unless something changes, if you want to see it, check the Discord link down below. It links to our Discord. That's where we post all our updates, announcements, and everything. If we make a scheduling, like overarching programming decision, I'll make a video for the YouTube channel. If you want to subscribe right there. The button's right there. It's really easy. You press it, and then you press the thumbs up button. That really helps us out. You know?
yep. Hopefully, the outcome is to put this out more consistently to build our audience more.
Yes. And I believe we have some other kind of content in the works. Um, now that we're back, we're gonna hit the
Yeah.
ground running. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you